Brexit means Brexit. This is the slogan with which the British Prime Minister Johnson took office. But the more Britain's exit from the EU becomes a reality, the clearer it becomes. Brexit means trouble. Lots of trouble. By the way, I didn't always want to bring just the short video with only one topic. Therefore, I report in this one after the other on different topics. So you should stay tuned until the end if you don't want to miss any topic. And if you don't want to miss anything at all, just subscribe to my channel and don't forget to click the little bell. It started with the fishermen who suddenly found themselves cut off from their main market, the EU. In a very short time, they have transformed from ardent supporters of Brexit into opponents of Johnson. They blame the unpredictable Prime Minister for the hot needle trade deal that brought Brexit to life earlier this year. Now it is the turn of the Northern Irish. They suffer from the restrictions that the EU has put in place to protect their internal market, as they do with every third country. Companies are suffocating in European bureaucracy, supermarkets have delivery problems. The situation in the British province remains fragile, wrote the British Brexit Commissioner Frost in a guest article for the Sunday Telegraph. So we had to take temporary operational steps to minimize the disruption in Northern Ireland. And adding to that is according to a new study published on Monday, the UK lost market share during the COVID-19 epidemic in the US, Germany and China. According to a report from the Banking Group Centre for Business Prosperity at Lloyd's University of Aston, the UK fared particularly poorly due to long-term stagnation in production growth. While all countries are caught in the turmoil of COVID-19, the UK has lost market share in its largest export markets, the US and Germany, research shows. Some major export destinations, Germany, the UK and China, have declined sharply in the UK and are slowly recovering, and global competitiveness is declining, the report said. The decline in exports from Great Britain to the USA was strongest in absolute and relative terms and longest in the major European countries, excluding France. Between 2017 and 2019, the UK increased total exports to Germany by 8.5%, to Italy by 12%, the Netherlands by 14%, Spain by 20%, and the United States by 24%. This paints a picture of decline in British exports to Germany after the 2016 Brexit referendum, which could mean some separation between the two economies, said economist Yun Du and Alexander Shepodilo in a statement. The study, which is based on United Nations trade figures, also suggests that the UK has lost market share in China. The combination of COVID, Brexit and the UK's long-term productivity challenges will penalize UK businesses for the foreseeable future, the report said. The UK's relatively poor productivity has plagued economies for years. The explanations vary from demand-side factors such as lack of staff skills and low research investment to a financial crisis. And another thing is, the German economy was also hit hard. I'm not keeping that secret. I always said both sides will be hit by COVID and by Brexit. According to economists, after the crisis year 2020, the economy should have survived the worst despite the ongoing lockdown. But things turn out differently at the beginning of the year. In addition to the pandemic, there are other unexpected problems. The German economy made an unexpected false start to the year 2021. It surprisingly cut back production in January due to the problems in the automotive industry with the procurement of semiconductors, which ends a series of 8 increases in a row. Industry, construction and energy suppliers together produced 2.5% less than in the previous month, as the Federal Ministry of Economics announced. Economists, on the other hand, had forecast a slight plus. Compared to February 2020, the month before the corona restrictions began, production was 4.2% lower. The results at the beginning of the year were very different in the individual sectors. The industry cuts its production by 0.5% and thus for the first time since April 2020. Despite the measures to combat the pandemic, industrial emissions recorded only a slight decline in January, mainly due to the shortages in semiconductor products in the automotive industry, explains the ministry. In contrast, mechanical engineering recorded a noticeable plus. The decline in production is probably primarily a consequence of Brexit, said economist Alexander Kröger from Bankhaus Lampe. Another reason for the industry's false start after the new trade agreement between Great Britain and the EU came into force at the beginning of the year. Disrupted supply chains in the auto industry are aggravating, but they should not become permanent. Catch-up effects could be on the agenda as early as the end of February. We'll see when we get the numbers for February, expects economist Thomas Gitzel from VP Bank. Industrial production will therefore be able to increase in double digits in February, the expert expects. That's always the bad thing, that you get the numbers later. We are already in March, but we don't have the February numbers now, so we still have to wait. In the construction industry, there was a significant decrease of 12.2%, which is probably due in part to the unfavorable weather, where we had big snow here. The withdrawal of the VAT cut may also have played a role. Utilities reported an increase of 0.6%. The export-dependent industry can expect a return to the upward trend. Their production expectations brightened in February for the third month in a row. The corresponding barometer rose to 20.7 points from 9.4 in January, as the IFO Institute found out in its monthly survey of 2,000 companies. The expectations of the industries are very different, said IFO expert Klaus Wohlrabe. The auto industry wants to expand its production particularly strongly. The clothing industry is planning to limit its production. The industrial companies had collected 1.4% more orders in January, with foreign business growing strongly by 4.2%. And one more thing, the export business of the German furniture industry suffered from the effects of the corona pandemic last year. According to surveys by the Federal Statistical Office, furniture exports fell by 4.5% to 7.5 billion euros. Above all, the lockdowns had an impact in many countries, says Jan Kurt, managing director of the Furniture Associations. Thanks to good business in the fourth quarter, the decline was less pronounced than initially expected. By the end of September, the year-on-year decline was 7.3%. Great Britain, the fifth most important export country for the German furniture industry, performed the weakest among the major European sales markets. Sales of German furniture in the United Kingdom fell 9.3% to 421 million euros. Other markets in the EU did similar. France minus 5.6%, Austria minus 3.5%, Belgium minus 5.1%, and Spain minus 10.2%. In contrast, exports to Switzerland increased significantly with plus 6.5%. Furniture sales to the United States with minus 14.6%, the most important non-European sales market, fell sharply. Exports to China fell by 5.7%, with considerable differences between the individual product groups. For kitchen furniture manufacturers, China turned out to be one of the most important growth markets, with a plus of 13%. When exporting to Great Britain, the German furniture industry is currently primarily concerned with the additional administrative effort, as a recent survey of the furniture associations among their member companies has shown. 94% of the furniture manufacturers surveyed complain that the customs formalities are more expensive. Greater efforts are necessary, particularly with regard to the rules and certificates of origin. In addition, a little more than half of the companies reported additional waiting times at the border. 30% of the companies reported delivery delays. For the current year, 42% of companies are preparing for a further decline in exports to Great Britain. 36% of furniture manufacturers expect stable exports to the United Kingdom, and 22% of furniture manufacturers expect an upward trend. We will see how that works out. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in my next video. Auf Wiedersehen.